In this video, we're going to talk about how we select between different cases that we may want to execute using the Java switch statement. So here I have a Java program that prompts the user for a number, then gives them a menu where they can select three different options to produce some output related to the number. So here you can see I'm prompting for an integer, and then here I'm printing a menu. Now when I run this, as you may expect, it's not going to do anything, because I haven't actually put in any sort of control structures to determine what exactly I should do. Now I have a lot of options about how to do this. Certainly I could use a if-else structure to check what the options were, but for this example, I'm going to use a switch statement. So the way we do a switch statement is we say switch, and then we give it the variable we want to select with. So here is my switch statement. And then inside that switch statement, I'm going to have several cases. So if the case is 1, meaning the user has entered a 1, choice is equal to 1, then I'll print out the input divided by 2 is whatever that result is. Now once I'm done with the case, I need to tell Java that I'm done, so I'm going to add a break in order to do that. If I don't do that, then it'll just continue to the next case. And I have another video that talks about that, so I'm not going to go into that here. So now, if we have, and you'll notice I'm getting an error here because I put that case statement outside the switch. So here, for the second case, I'm going to print the input squared is input times input. Again, I'm done, so I'm going to say break. And then for my final case, I'll say the square root of the input is, and again, I'll break. This last break isn't strictly necessary. However, it's good practice to always put the break in there so that each case is consistent. So let's run this. So I'll say my favorite integer is 10. I'll divide the number by 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. We'll say my favorite number is 10. If I square my number, I get 100. And then if 42 is my favorite integer and I get its square root, you can see that it does that. Although I don't like this, I need a space here. And there's my missing space, so I'll add that. Now one problem we have is, suppose we enter our favorite integer and then I take option 7. I entered option 42 and option 7, but nothing happens. So suppose you enter an invalid entry. You can add a default case where we say invalid option chosen. And so now when I run my code, if I give it an invalid option, it'll tell me that. So the default case, you can almost think of that as an else for the entire switch statement. If none of the cases match, then the default case will be executed. And generally it's a good idea to keep a default case there just in case there is an input that you're not used to, but it's optional to do it. And for the default case, really no reason to put a break there because it's kind of different structure than the other cases. And also the whole switch statement is done at this point. So that's a quick introduction to the switch statement in Java.